better ball control. How do you get it? Where do you find it? How do you put it into your game? All right, let's get into it. So start simple. That's right. Keep it simple. So whenever you're playing out on the field, the first thing you want to do on a daily basis is just focus in on receiving every pass to the best of your ability, making it super simple, receiving it with a light touch every single time. I know, it gets boring, it gets repetitive, but I promise you, if you start from that point mentally, you are going to achieve everything you want on the field, because from there, the game actually opens up to us. So I actually want you to think back, whenever you played last, at what point did your game really fall apart? That's a good question. Oh wait, I already know the answer. It's whenever you decided that you were gonna start playing balls out of nowhere and not taking a first touch, right? I already know. How did I know? Because I just know. So, first and foremost, you always wanna make sure that you're taking that first touch. That first touch is going to be the key to how well you receive the ball, move the ball into space. Now, what happens is, as you get into the flow of the game, if you've taken care of this early, let's say the first 2 to 5 minutes of the game, and that becomes habit forming and repetitive, this is whenever you stop having to worry about it, because this is how you're going to be playing for the rest of the day. So just make sure you implement this early, often, every time you lace up those cleats, you're worried about that first touch. And just think back to me. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. The next one actually is a little different, but also under the same mindset. So I want you to focus on your knee. Why do I want you to focus on your knee? Well, really engage and focus on the movement of and the quality of how hard and how effective you're using your knees. Why did I say hard? Well, because whenever I'm driving my knees, whenever I want to sprint or whenever I want to change directions or cut, yes, I focus on my toes, but I also focus on my knees, because I know that if I'm driving my knees effectively and I'm getting my knees up early in the game, or if I'm keeping my knees up, or halfway through the game whenever I get tired and I start to drag, happens all the time, you're not alone, who knew? That's what I start to look into. I want to make sure that I'm running diagnostics on myself as a player. I think of my body as a race car. Jeez, how self-centered. But that's the truth. So I actually do look at these diagnostics, and my knees are one of the first ones that I check. How effectively am I driving them whenever I'm trying to break away from another player who's trying to guard me? How well am I opening my knee, aka turning, whenever I receive the ball? Yes, I focus on my knee so that way it's an immediate turn. It's gonna make it so much easier. And then I try to get the other knee quickly around as possible so that way I can just break right through. Ka-cha. We're breaking things now, who knew? So obviously our knees are super important. Keep it simple, focus on your knees. I wonder what else this guy has in store for me. Man, he's really breaking barriers here. And lastly, I'm so glad you asked. I want to know, whenever I'm playing, how tight is my core? Right? Not like that. How effectively am I engaging my core? Do I have any cramps? Am I starting to get tired? Am I starting to slow down because of that? These are key to recognizing the control you're gonna have on the ball. The reason why is because your core is where your game begins and ends. You need to make sure that you are listening to your core and also engaging it at all times. Now, here's the thing. Whenever you see soccer players walking around on the field, the reason why we're doing that is so that way we can rest for a second before we go back into an all-out sprint. And here's the thing. Whenever you're receiving the ball and whenever you're moving with the ball or trying to do the moves that you see other people do so effectively, the reason why yours aren't coming off as effective is because you're not engaging your core whenever you're trying to do them. So here's the key. if you can engage from your core, keep your core nice and tight, keep your frame over the ball, and you're moving with the ball, that's whenever, as soon as you go and you see a moment where you can break through, because that's all we're trying to do moves for. We just want to beat people. So if you can do that, if you can break through, well, how are you going to do that if you did a move and your core was tired and sloppy and your knees, who knows what's going on there? You don't have your base and you're just kind of doing moves. Well, what happens is the ball gets away from you and the defender takes it and runs the other way, making you look major trash-tastic. That happens. I see it all the time. Now, do I laugh every time? No, absolutely not. Of course not. But I see it all the time. So you're not alone, and I'm not alone, because I do that too. So I focus on my core, and if my core is tight, and if I know that I'm engaged throughout the entire movement, throughout the entire play, then I'm going to make it So if I'm engaged and I know that my core is tight and I know that I'm moving the ball effectively, I'm receiving the ball, and now my core is tight, so I'm ready to sprint. Every move that I'm making on the ball is effective, sharp, controlled. I already know that I have that guy beat, because the last thing that I'm focused on are my toes. Yes, that's right, my toes. Knees, core, toes. What in the world am I talking about? Well, whenever you're up on your toes, you're up on the balls of your feet, and that allows you to change directions quickly. It also gives us fast feet. Have you ever heard the saying, slow feet don't eat? Yeah, you're gonna hear that all the time as you play soccer and as you continue to develop. Why is that? Because the faster your feet, the more effectively you're moving the ball. The faster your feet, the more effectively you are breaking players down, doing the skill moves you love to do, and also getting opportunities to take shots. So check the next time you're playing, whenever you get tired. First, if your core, like we just talked about, started to go, you're probably running on your heels. Is that true? Let me think, let me look back. Absolutely, it's true. Make sure that you're running on your toes. So get up off of your heels, start to engage the game, get forward, start to lean into the game and play it aggressively. Because here's the tip that you've been waiting for. You have to try to make the play as lethal as possible, as quickly as possible. I tell it to my players all the time, get lethal. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is anytime that there's an opportunity to find or take space on the field, we do so, putting the defense in a very dangerous position. Or whenever a window or a lane passes up that we can drive into and take a shot, we do that. That's what we're always looking for. And if you can do one of those two things, then you will be lethal. And we're always trying to be lethal every time we touch the ball. That is what makes us stand out. And that's what makes us a dangerous player who has control of the ball. So these are my tips on how to get better ball control. So I already know they helped you. So write down in the comments and help the community by sharing some of your feedback and your information that you found throughout your playing. Try and help a player who might be a little bit younger or is going through something that you might have been going through recently. Hey, we're all here. It's all community. That's what soccer's all about.